Hi everyone, I am Jia Qi Ei of SCP Group PG23. I am here to present to you the review of the Software Requirement Specification document for our project. The project's main focus is to build a prototype lunar rover using a LEGO EV3 Mindstorm kit. The purpose of the software is to track and find the remnants of Apollo 17 on the Moon while surveying the terrain traversed by the rover during the mission. The purpose of this presentation is to review the Software Requirement Specification document and identify any issue which may cause misunderstanding and queries about the requirements of the project. The review will also ensure the users, project managers, developers, and testers will be given the requirements in an organized, complete, and correct structure with a high level of quality, which will effectively ensure the users have all the appropriate requirements met. The SRS is also important in assisting development and testing of the software component of the project. This review will cover 5 key sections which will uniquely identify each criteria needed for the SRS. These sections include organization and completeness, correctness, quality attributes, traceability, and special issues. Organization and completeness. The SRS was successfully completed based on all the customers' requirements for the project that were recorded up until the document's submission date. The requirements listed in the SRS were consistent in layout, but did not contain the appropriate level of details required. The introductory section of the document was partially completed, as the document convention section for the SRS was not included. As a result, the requirements were not properly cross-referenced with one another. The overall requirements for the project were described in the SRS but were not organized based on the priorities of the requirements as it was not included as well. This deemed that the timing of the development of the project difficult to follow. While the requirements of the hardware, software, and communication interfaces were well identified, they were not described in detail. Since the team had not started the testing of the software, there were no error conditions specified in the SRS. Correctness. All the requirements of the SRS were reviewed during team meetings before documentation to remove any duplicates and conflicts between each requirement. Each of the requirements contained distinct description which explained the meaning and attributes of said requirements. Each requirements were sourced either from project specification, client meeting, or group discussion. They each contain no grammatical errors, written in concise, general description, and fit within the project scope. The requirements were also implemented within design constraints of the project. While the main points of the requirements were mentioned in the SRS, all the requirements key details such as priority, rationale, and source were neither included nor specified. The missing requirements are not listed as to be done. No error messages were specified within the document as there are no use cases included for the testing for each requirement. Quality attributes. Since the team were still in the design stage of the software, the major non-functional requirements were not specified in the SRS. Hence, there are no performance requirements, safety, and security considerations listed during the documentation. Traceability. This SRS lacked the internal cross-referencing system as there are no unique identification numbers given to each of the requirements. This may render the user difficult to trace or source the mentioned requirements in the SRS. The dependencies of the requirements were not implemented as the requirements themselves lack priority details. Special issues. All the requirements specified in the SRS were explicitly defined as such and did not correlate to the design or implementation solutions of the project. The SRS did not specify any time-critical criteria or functions. These details should be included in the future as we assist the development team in the design and implementation of the time-critical functions such as mapping speed and stopping speed. There are no standards that needs to be followed during being specified in the SRS. Conclusion. Although the requirements were clearly identified and listed in the SRS, they were not elaborated in a clear, concise, unambiguous language that fit the SRS documentation criteria. Each requirement should include priorities, source, and rationales, as these details were important in outlining the development schedule of the project and the dependency hierarchy of each requirement and to ensure traceability in the SRS. The SRS should also include well-defined use cases for each requirements testing. Additionally, the SRS should also include the non-functional requirements such as performance requirements, safety, security, software quality attributes, and any other additional requirements. More details are required for the interfaces as well. In overall, the SRS is poorly organized and required extensive improvements in terms of structure, quality, and detail writing to properly communicate the software requirements of the project. Thank you.